Hundreds of billions of dollars are heading straight for XRP, and the man who built the network just told us exactly why. This isn't hype, this has already started. Every now and then, the person who actually created the technology says something that stops you in your tracks. And David Schwartz, the co-creator of the XRP Ledger, just did exactly that. He pulled back the curtain on a future that is so much bigger than most people realize. Real stocks, real funds, real loans, the actual machinery of Wall Street moving directly onto XRP. Hundreds of billions of dollars in real-world assets flowing onto the ledger. And here's the part that gives me chills. This is not a someday dream anymore. It's not a maybe. The wave has already started. JPMorgan already tested it on XRP. Mastercard already touched it. Some of the biggest names in global finance are quietly building on this network right now, while most of the world is looking the other way. And underneath all of it is one simple reason. One thing that Wall Street cares about more than almost anything. And once Schwartz explains it, you're going to understand why this could be the moment everything changes for XRP. So today, we're zooming all the way in. What's actually coming, who's already building it, and why the foundation being poured right now could be the biggest one XRP has ever seen. Trust me, this is bigger than you think. Let's get into it. Quick note before we start, this is not financial advice. I'm sharing what the people building this technology are actually saying and doing, so you can get excited with clear eyes. Anything about the future is a projection, not a promise. So protect your family, do your own research, and never let anyone rush you, including me. All right, let's get into it. So let's start right at the source, because this comes straight from the top. David Schwartz isn't a hype man. He isn't an influencer chasing clicks. He is the co-creator of the XRP Ledger, one of the actual architects who built this thing more than a decade ago. So when he talks about where it's headed, this is the person who would know better than almost anyone alive. And recently, he laid out a vision that honestly should have every XRP holder sitting up straight. He said that in the near future, the XRP Ledger is going to carry many hundreds of billions of dollars in tokenized real-world assets. And I want you to really hear what that phrase means, because it's easy to skim past. Tokenized real-world assets. That means taking actual things from the traditional financial world, stocks, bonds, funds, loans, even things like real estate, and putting them directly onto the blockchain, not a crypto coin pretending to be finance. The real thing. Real Wall Street assets, living and moving on the XRP Ledger. And Schwartz didn't stop there. He painted the whole roadmap. First tokenized securities and money market funds, then tokenized stocks. And coming right behind them, tokenized repos and tokenized loans. Piece by piece, he's describing the entire toolkit of modern finance being rebuilt on chain, on XRP's rails. Think about the scale of that for a second. The traditional finance world isn't measured in billions. It's measured in the hundreds of trillions. And Schwartz is describing XRP positioning itself to carry a real slice of that. This is the co-creator saying out loud that the network was built for exactly this moment. So the obvious question is why? Why would the biggest financial players on the planet choose to bring all of that onto the XRP Ledger? And the answer Schwartz gave is not what you'd expect. It's not flashy. It's actually kind of quiet. But once you get it, you'll understand why this is so powerful. Let me show you. All right. Here's the reason. And it's beautiful because it's so simple. The word is auditability. Now stay with me, because this one word might be the key to hundreds of billions of dollars. Let me make it real for you. Imagine you run a huge financial company, and regulators, auditors, and partners constantly need to verify that you actually have what you say you have, that you're not hiding debts, that your books are clean. Right now, in the traditional world, this is a nightmare. It's slow, it's expensive. Companies have to hire trusted third parties to sit in the middle and vouch for them, and it costs a fortune, and it still isn't perfect. Here's the problem Schwartz points to. In the old system, it's almost impossible to prove a negative, to prove that you don't owe some hidden amount somewhere, so the whole industry is stitched together with expensive middlemen and blind trust. Now watch what a blockchain like the XRP Ledger does to that problem. It just erases it. On-chain, everything is transparent and verifiable, instantly, continuously. Schwartz explained that on the XRP Ledger, it's trivial to prove exactly what your total exposure is at any moment in real time. No middleman, no waiting, no massive audit bills. The truth is just sitting there, provable, 24/7. Do you see how big that is? For a Wall Street firm running on razor-thin margins where even a tiny cost difference is enormous, this is a revelation. You strip out the expensive middlemen. You get continuous, provable, real-time auditing. You reduce risk and you save money at the same time. Schwartz basically said, this alone is mind-blowing to these companies. And here's why the XRP Ledger specifically shines. It was designed to be clean, predictable, and easy to audit from the ground up. No messy complications, just fast, cheap, verifiable settlement. That's not an accident. That's what it was built for. So this boring little word, auditability, is actually the magnet pulling serious institutional money toward XRP. And here's the best part. This isn't theory. It's already happening. Let me show you the receipts. Okay, this is where it goes from exciting idea to undeniable reality, because talk is cheap, and I don't want you to just take a vision on faith. So let's look at what's actually on the ledger right now. Start with the growth. The value of tokenized real-world assets on the XRP Ledger didn't just tick up, it exploded. Over the course of a single year, it went from around $25 million to well over $500 million. And by early 2026, it had climbed to roughly $2.5 billion in real-world assets live, on-chain. That's not a projection. That's already there. And who's behind it? This is the part that gives me goosebumps. In May of 2026, 3 names you absolutely know, JPMorgan, Mastercard, and Ondo Finance, ran a tokenized US Treasury test directly on the XRP Ledger. Read that again. JPMorgan, Mastercard, testing tokenized government bonds on XRP. That is the establishment, the absolute top of the financial food chain, putting their hands on this network. And they're not the only ones. A regulated digital securities firm called Archax has lined up a pipeline worth around $1 billion in tokenized assets, including equities and funds heading for the ledger. And Ripple's own regulated stablecoin has grown into one of the largest regulated dollar tokens in the entire country, sitting right there on XRP, ready to be the cash that settles all these deals. So step back and look at the picture. The co-creator says hundreds of billions are coming. And already, the real-world asset numbers are up thousands of %. The biggest banks on earth are running live tests, and $1 billion pipeline is lining up behind them. The vision and the reality are starting to meet. Quick pause, because I genuinely want to know, before this video, did you have any idea that JPMorgan and Mastercard had already tested tokenized assets directly on XRP? Just type yes or no in the comments. I love reading them, and I have a feeling this one is going to surprise a lot of you. And believe it or not, even with all of this, we may only be looking at the warm-up, because there's a new piece coming that could unlock a whole other side of XRP, and it involves a name you would never expect to be helping XRP. Let me show you. So here's what has me genuinely excited about what comes next. Because everything we just talked about, the tokenized assets, the institutions, that's the foundation. But there's a new layer being built on top of it, and it comes from a surprising place. Charles Hoskinson. If you don't know the name, he's the founder of Cardano, another major blockchain. And normally you'd expect rival networks to just compete. But Hoskinson has been openly talking about working with Ripple's David Schwartz to bring something powerful to XRP. His words were basically, we can add amazing DeFi components to XRP. Here's why that matters so much. The XRP Ledger has always been incredible at fast, clean, auditable settlement. But for certain advanced features like private smart contracts and complex lending, it's been building toward that. And Hoskinson's privacy-focused technology, called Midnight, could help fill exactly that gap. Picture it. XRP's speed and institutional trust, combined with private, compliant smart contracts on top. Lending, borrowing, yield, all while keeping sensitive financial data protected the way big institutions require. And on top of that, the XRP Ledger has been adding smart contract compatibility of its own, opening the door for a whole new wave of developers and builders to come create financial products directly on XRP. New builders, new apps, new reasons for capital to flow in, Now, I'll be real with you for one honest second, because that's who I am. This collaboration is still early. It's discussions and plans, not a finished product you can use today. So let's stay excited but grounded. Nobody should treat any of this as guaranteed. But think about the direction it's all pointing. On one side, the biggest institutions in the world bringing real assets on chain because of auditability. On the other side, powerful new DeFi and privacy tools being built to serve them. Both waves heading for the same shore. That's not one catalyst, that's two, arriving together, and XRP is sitting right in the middle of it. So what does all of this actually mean for you, holding XRP right now? Let me bring it home. So let's tie the whole thing together, because when you zoom out, the picture is genuinely inspiring. The co-creator of the network is telling us hundreds of billions in real-world assets are coming. The reason is auditability, something Wall Street values more than almost anything, and something the XRP Ledger was practically born to deliver. The proof is already on chain, with real-world assets up thousands of %, and giants like JPMorgan and Mastercard running live tests. And a brand new wave of DeFi and developer tools is being built right on top. Layer after layer, the machine is coming together. Now let me stay honest with you, because that's what keeps this channel real. All of this is about the network being built, not a promise about the price on any given day. The price is quiet right now. And the biggest, most exciting parts of this are projections and pipelines, things that still have to be delivered over time. Great things take time to build, and this is no exception. But here's what I want you to feel. This is what the early days of something huge actually look like. Not fireworks, not a headline telling you to rush. It looks like quiet engineering, institutions testing in the background, the architect calmly describing a future while the crowd is distracted. That is exactly the moment that years from now, people wish they had understood. So what do you do with this? Nothing frantic. You don't need to bet the house, and you should never risk money your family depends on. Please, protect your household first, and always do your own research. But you can absolutely pay attention. You can understand what's being built better than 99% of people out there. Because when this story is being told a few years from now, you'll be able to say you saw the foundation being poured in real time. And honestly, that foundation is looking stronger every single week. This has been Crypto with BHW. We're early. The foundation is being poured, and I'll see you in the very next one.